1 Maccabees chapter 14, Capture of Demetrius. In the 172nd year, Demetrius, the king, assembled his forces and marched into Media to secure help so that he could make war against Tryphon. When Archdiocese, the king of Persia and Media, heard that Demetrius had invaded his territory, he sent one of his commanders to take him alive. And he went and defeated the army of Demetrius and seized him and took him to Archdiocese and put him under guard. Eulogy of Simon. The Lamb had rest all the days of Simon. He sought the good of his nation. His rule was pleasing to them, as was the honor shown him all his days. To crown all his honors, he took Joppa for a harbor and opened a way to the isles of the sea. He extended the borders of his nation and gained full control of the country. He gathered a host of captives. He ruled over Gazara and Bethsor and the citadel, and he removed its uncleanness from it, and there was none to oppose him. They tilled their land in peace. The ground gave its increase, and the trees of the plains their fruit. Old men sat in the streets. They all talked together of good things. The youths donned the glorious garments of war. He supplied the cities with food and furnished them with the means of defense, till his renown spread to the ends of the earth. He established peace in the land, and Israel rejoiced with great glory. Each man sat under his vine and his fig tree, and there was none to make them afraid. No one was left in the land to fight them, and the kings were crushed in those days. He strengthened all the humble of his people. He sought out the law and did away with every lawless and wicked man. He made the sanctuary glorious and added to the vessels of the sanctuary. Diplomacy with Rome and Sparta. It was heard in Rome and as far as Sparta that Jonathan had died, and they were deeply grieved when they heard that Simon, his brother, had become the high priest in his place, and that he was ruling over the country and the cities in it. They wrote to him on bronze tablets to renew with him the friendship and alliance which they had established with Judas and Jonathan, his brothers. And these were read before the assembly in Jerusalem. This is a copy of the letter which the Spartans sent, the rulers and the city of the Spartans, to Simon the high priest, and to the elders and the priests, and the rest of the Jewish people, our brethren, greet you. The envoys were sent to our people, have told us about your glory and honor, and we rejoice at their coming. And what they said we have recorded in our public decrees as follows. Numenius, the son of Antiochus, and Antipater, the son of Jason, envoys of the Jews, have come to us to renew the friendship with us. It has pleased our people to receive these men with honor and to put a copy of their words in the public archives, so that the people of the Spartans may have a record of them. And they have sent a copy of this to Simon the high priest. After this, Simon sent Numenius to Rome with a large gold sheet weighing 1,000 minas to confirm the alliance with the Romans. Officials' honors for Simon. When the people heard these things, they said, "How shall we thank Simon and his sons? For he and his brothers and the house of his father have stood firm. They have fought and repulsed Israel's enemies and established its freedom." So they made a record on bronze tablets and put it upon pillars on Mount Zion. This is a copy of what they wrote. On the 18th day of Elul in the 172nd year, which is the third year of Simon the great high priest, in Azaramel, in the great assembly of the priests and the people and the rulers of the nation and the elders of the country, the following was proclaimed to us. Since wars often occurred in the country, Simon the son of Matthias, a priest of the sons of Jored, and his brothers exposed themselves to danger and resisted the enemies of the nation, in order that their sanctuary and the law might be preserved. and they brought great glory to their nation. Jonathan branded the nation and became their high priest and was gathered to his people. And when their enemies decided to invade the country and lay hands on their sanctuary, Simon rose up and fought for his nation. He spent great sums of his own money. He armed the men of his nation's forces and paid them wages. He fortified the cities of Judah and Bethsur on the borders of Judah, where formerly the arms of the enemy had been stored, and he placed there a garrison of Jews. He also fortified Joppa, which is by the sea, and Gazara, which is on the borders of Azotus, where the enemy formerly dwelt. He settled Jews there and provided in those cities whatever was necessary for their restoration. The people saw Simon's faithfulness and the glory which he had resolved to win for his nation, and they made him their leader and high priest, because he had done all these things and because of the justice and loyalty which he had maintained toward his nation. He sought in every way to exalt his people, and in his days things prospered in his hands, so that the Gentiles were put out of the country, as were also the men in the city of David in Jerusalem, who had built themselves a citadel from which they used to sally forth and defile the environs of the sanctuary and do great damage to its purity. He settled Jews in it and fortified it for the safety of the country and of the city, and built the walls of Jerusalem higher. In view of these things, King Demetrius confirmed him in the high priesthood, and he made him one of the king's friends and paid him high honors. For he had heard that the Jews were addressed by the Romans as friends and allies and brethren, and that the Romans had received the envoys of Simon with honor. And the Jews and the priests decided that Simon should be their leader and high priest forever, until a trustworthy prophet should arise, and that he should be governor over them, and that he should take in charge of the sanctuary and appoint men over its tasks, and over the country and the weapons and the strongholds, and that he should take charge of the sanctuary, and that he should be obeyed by all, and that all contracts in the country should be written in his name, and that he should be clothed in purple and wear gold. And none of the people or priests shall be permitted to nullify any of these decisions, or to oppose what he says, or to convene an assembly in the country without his permission, or to be clothed in purple or put on a gold buckle. Whoever acts contrary to these decisions or nullifies any of them shall be liable to punishment. And all the people agreed to grant Simon the right to act in accord with these decisions. So Simon accepted and agreed to be high priest, to be commander and ethnarch of the Jews and priests, and to be protector of them all. And they gave orders to inscribe this decree upon bronze tablets, to put them up in a conspicuous place in the precincts of the sanctuary, and to deposit copies of them in the treasury, so that Simon and his sons might have them. 1 Maccabees chapter 15. Letter of Antiochus 7. Antiochus, the son of Demetrius the king, sent a letter from the islands of the sea to Simon, the priest and the ethnarch of the Jews, and to all the nation. Its contents were as follows. King Antiochus to Simon, the high priest, and ethnarch, and to the nation of the Jews, greeting. Whereas certain pestilent men have gained control of the kingdom of our fathers, and I intend to lay claim to the kingdom, so that I may restore it as it formerly was, and have recruited a host of mercenary troops and have equipped warships. And I intend to make a landing in the country, so that I may proceed against those who have destroyed our country and those who have devastated many cities in my kingdom. Now therefore I confirm to you all the tax remissions that the kings before me have gained granted you, and released from all the other payments from which they have released you. I permit you to remit your own coinage as money for your country, and I grant freedom to Jerusalem and the sanctuary. All the weapons which you have prepared and the strongholds which you have built and now hold shall remain yours. Every debt you owe to the royal treasury and any such future debts shall be cancelled for you from henceforth and for all time. When we gain control of our kingdom, we will bestow great honor upon you and your nation and the temple, so that your glory will become manifest in all the earth. In the 174th year, Antiochus set out and invaded the land of his fathers. All the troops rallied to him, so that there were few with Tryphon. Antiochus pursued him, and he came in his flight to Dor, which is by the sea, for he knew that troubles had converged upon him and his troops, and had deserted him. So Antiochus encamped against Dor, and with him were 120,000 warriors and 8,000 cavalry. He surrounded the city, and the ships joined battle from the sea. He pressed the city hard from land and sea, and permitted no one to leave or enter it. Rome supports the Jews. Then Numenius and his companions arrived from Rome with letters to the kings and countries, in which the following was written: Lucius, the consul of the Romans, to King Ptolemy greeting. The envoys of the Jews have come to us as our friends and allies to renew our ancient friendship and alliance. They had been sent by Simon the high priest and by the Simon of the Jews, and had brought a gold shield weighing 1,000 minas. We therefore have decided to write to the kings and countries that they should not seek their harm or make war against them and their cities and their country, or make alliance with those who war against them. And it has seemed good to us to accept the shield from them. Therefore, if any persistent men have fled to you from their country, hand them over to Simon the high priest, that he may punish them according to their law. The consul wrote the same thing to Demetrius the king, and to Attalus and Ariarathes and Arsaces, and to all the countries, and to Samsames, and to the Spartans, and to the Delos, and to Windows, and to Sicyon, and to Caria, and to Samos, and to Pamphylia, and to Lycia, and to Halicarnassus, and to Rhodes, and to Phasaelis, and to Kos, and to Side, and to Aratus, and Botina, and Cnidus, and Cyprus, and Cyrene. They also sent a copy of these things to Simon the high priest. Antiochus 7 threatens Simon. Antiochus the king besieged Dor anew, continually throwing his forces against it and making engines of war, and he shut Tryphon up and kept him from going out or in. And Simon sent to Antiochus 2,000 picked men, and to fight for them, and silver and gold, and much military equipment. But he refused to receive them, and he broke all the agreements he formerly had made with Simon, and became estranged from them. He said to him Athenobius, one of his friends, to confer with him, saying, You hold control of Joppa and Gazara and the citadel in Jerusalem. They are cities of my kingdom. You have devastated their territory, you have done great damage in the land, and you have taken possession of many places in my kingdom. Now then, hand over the cities which you have seized and the tribute money of the places where you have conquered outside the borders of the Judah, or else give me for them 500 talents of silver, and for the destruction that you have caused, and the tribute money of the cities 500 talents. Otherwise, we will come and conquer you. So Athenobius, the friend of the king, came to Jerusalem, and when he saw the splendor of Simon and the sideboard with its gold and silver plate and his great magnificence, he was amazed. He reported to him the words of the king, but Simon gave him this reply: We have neither taken foreign land nor seized foreign property, but only the inheritance of our fathers, which at one time had been unjustly taken by our enemies. Now that we have the opportunity, we are firmly holding the inheritance of our fathers. As for Joppa and Gazara, which you have demanded, they were causing great damage among the people and to our land. For them we will give 100 talents. Athenobius did not answer him a word, but returned in wrath to the king and reported to him these words and the splendor of Simon and all that he had seen. And the king was greatly angered. Victory over Syndippus. Now Tryphon embarked on a ship and escaped to Orthosia. Then the king made Syndippus commander-in-chief of the coastal country and gave him troops of infantry and cavalry. He commanded him to encamp against Judah and commanded him to build up Kedron and fortify its gates and to make war on the people, but the king pursued Tryphon. So Syndippus came to Jamnia and began to provoke the people and invade Judah and take the people captive and kill them. He built up Kedron and stationed there horsemen and troops so that they might go out and make raids along the highways of Judah as the king had ordered them. 1 Maccabees chapter 16. John went up from Gazara and reported to Simon his father what Syndippus had done. And Simon called in his 2 older sons, Judas and John, and said to them, I and my brothers and the house of my father have fought the wars of Israel from our youth until this day, and things have prospered in our hands, so that we have delivered Israel many times. But now I have grown old, and you, by his mercy, are mature in years. Take my place and my brothers, and go out and fight for our nation, and may the help which comes from heaven be with you. So John chose out of the country 20,000 warriors and horsemen, and they marched against Syndippus and camped for the night in Modin. Early in the morning they arose and marched into the plain, and behold, a large force of infantry and horsemen was coming to meet them, and a stream lay between them. Then he and his army lined up against them, and he saw that the soldiers were afraid to cross the stream, so he crossed over first. And when his men saw him, they crossed over after him. Then he divided the army and placed the horsemen in the midst of the infantry, for the cavalry of the enemy were very numerous. And they sounded the trumpets, and Sensibius and his army were put to flight, and many of them were wounded and fell. The rest fled into the stronghold. At that time, Judas, the brother of John, was wounded, but John pursued them until Sensibius reached Kidron, which he had built. They also fled into the towers that were in the fields of Azotus, and John burned it with fire, and about 2,000 of them fell. And he returned to Judah safely. Murder of Simon and his sons. Now Ptolemy, the son of Abubus, had been appointed governor over the plain of Jericho, and he had much silver and gold, for he was son-in-law of the high priest. His heart was lifted up. He determined to get control of the country and made treacherous plans against Simon and his sons to do away with them. Now Simon was visiting the cities of the country and attending to their needs, and he went down to Jericho with Mattathias and Judas his sons in the 177th year, in the 11th month, which is the month of Shebat. The son of Abubus received them treacherously in the little stronghold called Tob, which he had built. He gave them a great banquet and hid men there. When Simon and his sons were drunk, Ptolemy and his men rose up, took their weapons, and rushed in against Simon in the banquet hall, and they killed him and his 2 sons and some of his servants. So he committed an act of great treachery and returned evil for good. John succeeds Simon. Then Ptolemy wrote a report about these things and sent it to the king, asking him to send troops to aid him and to turn over to him the cities and the country. He sent other men to Gazara to do away with John. He sent letters to the captains asking them to come to him so that he might give them silver and gold and gifts. And he sent other men to take possession of Jerusalem and the temple hill. But someone ran ahead and reported to John at Gazara that his father and brothers had perished, and that he has sent men to kill you also. When he heard this, he was greatly shocked, and he seized the men who came to destroy him and killed them, for he had found out that they were seeking to destroy him. The rest of the acts of John and his wars and the brave deeds which he did, and the building of the walls which he built, and his achievements, behold, they are written in the chronicles of his high priesthood, from the time that he became high priest after his father.